ever tried to get your dad to take magnesium, or your husband to drink a green smoothie without gagging, or your brother to even look at spirulina? You know where this is going. So no, I'm not out here trying to get them to sip sea moss or take 12 supplements before breakfast. We're done with that. That season has passed. I'm not fussing, I'm not fighting, and I'm not blending another thing. Instead, I'm cooking meals so good they taste like Sunday supper that secretly heal your brain, gut, and your blood sugar while you just think it's barbecue night. I call it stealth health because they don't even see it coming, but their bodies will thank me later. So let's talk creamy, cheesy casseroles, smoky Southern style barbecue freezer meals, and nutrient-dense dinners that double as comfort food while also serving as a quiet rebellion against the standard American diet. So grab your apron, maybe some lab goggles. We're healing people. They just don't know it yet. Now, for those of you that are new around here, I'm Cassandra, your no-acre farm girl, canning, gardening, preserving, and figuring out how to eat well without a cow in the backyard. With barely a backyard. With no backyard, a deck, basically. Don't laugh, I'm kind of on to something. Anyways, a big part of my journey started with food. Real food. You know, food that can be traced back to a garden, a farmer, or even your own pantry shelf. And that's how I started canning and gardening and how I'm standing in this kitchen here today. But over the past year, things got really personal. My younger brother and only sibling had a stroke in his early 30s. His recovery has been a miracle in progress, but since then I've only gotten more serious about what we eat. And not just for him, but also for my parents, for myself, and for what the next 10, 20, or 30 years might look like. And I shared very candidly about that in a video that I posted earlier this year. So today I am going to make 6 freezer meals. And some of these are gonna feel like your mama's broccoli casserole. So yeah, some are sweet and cozy, and some have spirulina, chlorella, lion's mane, CoQ10, and collagen. And you know what? You would never know because the sauces are flavorful and the texture is familiar. Look, taste is what brings them back to the table. And now if you don't want to add supplements, you don't have to. You can make every single one of these meals without them. But if you're supplement curious or thinking about ways to sneak in more nutrition for picky eaters, this video is for you. Okay, sorry for the awkward angle. We're in a tiny little space that doubles as my office and a guest bedroom. Now this is real talk because I like showing the messy middle where someone is striving towards something, but they're not there yet, but it is the process of how they're trying to figure it out. Now you're gonna see supplements in this video, but I do not have a brand deal with any of these companies, and this video was not sponsored. I've never done a sponsored video. And so the affiliate links that you see are just going to be through Amazon. So yeah, nobody is paying me to say that I like a particular product. So just know that everything you see is solely based on what I could afford and my understanding of what makes a product, you know, better than others. But I wanted you to take a look at some of the books that I have read and collected so that you kind of know where the base of the information I share is coming from. And this is not the entire scope of books we have on this topic. I literally have a bookshelf in every room of our house. And when it comes to the people that I watch on YouTube, I don't even want to start naming people because it's a pretty big and eclectic group, but I'm kind of in the camp of like Barbara O'Neill, Sally Fallon, Dr. Berg, Casey Means, Dr. Mindy. So don't think that I blindly follow just anyone. I also am not a doctor. I'm just someone with Google Docs and spiral notebooks full of notes. And I have this burning desire to do better than what we've been sold in grocery store aisles. And honestly, it's why over the past couple of months, as I am cooking meals in my kitchen, I just like to stamp what I'm learning a little bit more with you because you never know when you really need this information. And, you know, going through still in some ways the medical system and now this new journey that we're on, you find yourself just as, you know, a lay person striving to educate yourself and understand, you know, a path when there's not a clear, you know, recovery plan in place. And then when you go on YouTube, you're getting excellent and great information. And a lot of it is polished and it's like the best of the best. And, you know, while there's a lot we can do, I can't implement everything with full fidelity, either because there's a time or a expense cap on things. And so this is just how I am translating what I'm learning. And sometimes, you know, you just want to see on a day-to-day basis what regular folks, you know, are doing. And so please know that that is sincerely from my heart. That is all I hope to share with you. Oh, I'm not crying. Okay, let me give you the book tour. Now, those of y'all that know me know that I'm actually pretty frugal, but there are two things that I will buy without hesitation: dangly earrings and books. What? We all have our kryptonite. All right, so here is the shelf, and I'm not even sure. I'm going to have to do like a book tour one day, but there's things on just like every single topic. This is a really good book for when I was learning how to process chickens. This is a really good book too that talks about the distinctive foods that we're actually losing in the United States. I'm starting to get into medicinal mushrooms. And so this has been really interesting. Oh yeah, like this is a book that you may need. So there's Sally Fallon that's here, some canning books. This is another really good Sally Fallon book, Nourishing Fats as well. I feel like you always hear about this one, but she actually has, I think, 3 different books that are out. I also, here are some of my fertility books that are here. These two are by Dave Asprey. Let's see here, Wild Foods. This is a really good one too. Oh, I love Casey Means. Good energy, so good. Oh yeah, this is Sally's 3rd book here, Nourishing Diets. So you'll just have to like maybe pause this so you can kind of see what titles I have here. But, this is a really good one too. So this is by Dr. William Lee. I took off the jacket, but I am that person who has to like highlight, and I will mark up a text as a way that I engage with it. So, oh my goodness, this book is so good and easy to read too. Now, I haven't had a chance to get to this one yet, Deep Nutrition. I think this will likely be a fall read for me. I have 2 other books ahead of this one. I have the Glucose Goddess, Dr. Mindy's book. So no, actually this is her cookbook. She also has, I think it's a pink colored book, Fast Like a Girl. That's really good. Oh, this book is so encouraging. Love, love, love this book. This is another, really good book. Just talking about brain health. So hopefully I'm just showing you all of this so you can kind of see just like the full range of kind of where I am. So I share and say all this because if you're the one that's doing the grocery run and the meal planning and the freezing and the chopping and the praying over the pot, that I'm right here alongside you. Oh, and someone recommended that I get this book by Adele Davis in a video that I posted a couple of weeks back. Thank you so much. I am so excited to get to this rate. Again, if you recommend a book, I will likely just go ahead and grab it because that is something that I do set aside time to do several nights throughout the week. It's how I kind of ease myself off to sleep, by reading a really good book. And so thank you for your book recommendations. Also know, I just feel like the Becoming a Farm Girl community, our comment section, you can learn so much. And it is becoming just an archive of wisdom. And so if there's something that I am sharing that has resonated with you or works for your family, please, if you feel comfortable, go ahead and share that. It's not just for me, but it's for our community. So with that, let's get to the meals. So this recipe is going to start with us slicing some onions that we're going to transfer to a pan. And hey, don't sleep on the onions. They're not just there for flavor, although that's reason enough. Did you know that onions are packed with quercetin? And that's an expensive supplement that you'll buy at the store. And quercetin is a natural antioxidant that is anti-inflammatory, and it helps with heart health. And I think I've seen a couple other studies that say that it helps with regulating your blood sugar. They're also a prebiotic, which has become a buzzword nowadays, especially for supplements that, I don't know, the people that you see on YouTube. Yes, I'm one of them. But the people, you know what I mean. But yeah, so you're seeing all this talk about like prebiotics, but y'all, they're already like naturally occurring in food. I'm just saying all that because like it's not some type of like newfangled supplement, that you have to buy. Not saying, not to like support yourself with those things, but I think always starting with a base of nutrition and then seeing from there with your diet what you need to supplement with probably makes the most sense. And don't forget that traditional cooks, like the ones in the Early Settlement Cookbook or Adele Davis's crowd, they always start a lot of their recipes with butter and onions. And all you need to do is just saute them low and slow in butter, which also helps to unlock the fat-soluble compounds. And it just smells like someone's cooking something real, All right, y'all, so now we're just gonna go ahead and make a quick creamy sauce that is going to be so rich and decadent out of our cream cheese, our sour cream, and then our cheddar cheese. And all of those are essentially what I would also call pantry or fridge staples. Another thing about cream cheese, it freezes beautifully. So in addition to what I keep in the upstairs fridge, I always have a couple of packs that are tucked in the freezer in the basement. This is our second pack of cream cheese. Now we'll add our sour cream. Now dump in your cheese. And then what we're gonna do to thin this out a bit is you're just gonna wanna add either some milk or some type of broth. It can be vegetable or chicken broth. I'm using some chicken broth. And you'll just thin it out to your desired consistency. Now we're gonna fold in some nutritional yeast, which has what I would consider the flavor of like Parmesan cheese, but it's like a little bit nutty or a toasted kind of flavor. Really good, and it complements cheese dishes. And beyond that, nutritional yeast contains beta-glucans, which basically are these naturally occurring fibers that activate your immune cells. And what they do is detect, respond to, and clean out what shouldn't be there, whether it's inflammation, infection, or just junk that shouldn't be there. So beta-glucans are like trainers for your immune system, right? They're not going to overhype things or put your body into overdrive, but it does help your cells to stay sharp and responsive, especially as we age. And for someone like my brother who's in recovery and has a nervous system that's healing, that gentle immune support really matters. Oh, almost forgot to mention that nutritional yeast also contains selenium and zinc, which are also tied to immunity and brain function. Woo-wee! Y'all, you can't buy this from a jar. Look at that. And it comes together so quickly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a dash of pepper and then just a little seasonal salt. Now let's fold in the broccoli. Okay, friend, come in real close. Now, do you see how our sauce, because we added the broccoli, is starting to have these little like green specks that are in there? That's our cover to add the spirulina and the chlorella powder. Broccoli already has a green tint, so your family is none the wiser. So both chlorella and spirulina are rich in chlorophyll, iron, and protein. And they've also been studied for their detoxifying and anti-inflammatory benefits. Now, I know probably just a moment ago you were looking at that sauce thinking, girl, this is rich. Yes, it needs to be, because it is going to mask this flavor so well. See, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and taste test this for you. It's so good. Let me tell you, you don't even taste the spirulina or chlorella like at all. And I probably added about 2 tablespoons of the chlorella and maybe 1 tablespoon of the spirulina powder. And because of where I'm at right now, I think I'm going to amp it up just a little bit more. And even if I were to taste something on the back end, it's more earthy. It doesn't come across like it does in a regular like shake or fruit smoothie blend, where it can just be so overpowering for the amount that you want to go ahead and use, which is why I don't do all of those kind of shakes and whatever else. Well, I do them by myself, but the rest of my family's not going to do that. And so I love adding it to a dish that is typically a bit more rich, because the flavors that I am tasting from this is the creaminess, right, from the cream cheese and the sour cream. And then I hit it with the chicken broth underneath, a little bit of that cheese flavor. Plus I'm getting more of that kind of robustness from the nutritional yeast. Then I hit it with a little bit of seasonings, and I'm telling you, this sauce is delicious. Oh, I almost forgot we added those onions. This sauce is the bomb.com, okay? Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and up that. And yeah, we'll do 1 and 2. We're not done yet, sweetheart. We're also gonna add a little bit of inulin powder, which is a prebiotic. It is tasteless, but as a prebiotic, it's going to feed the good gut bacteria, and especially the ones that regulate your blood sugar and your mood. Okay, so I added about that much. All right, so here's another look. And I'm telling you, no one is looking at this sauce with any suspicion at all. So I've gone ahead and I've added the chicken thighs to the tins. That was a pack of 3 and each had 4 thighs in there. But because this sauce is just so creamy, I am deciding to go ahead and add some pasta. So this is keto friendly. It's basically no carbs. And y'all have heard me talk about this before. This is the Aldi brand. It's super affordable. It tastes delicious. And so these are just hearts of palm, and they're so good. They are the best pasta substitute I think that is out there. It's gluten-free, 4 carbs, it's saying here. And so what I'm gonna do, since all of this is just going in the oven, is I am going to add some noodles to this dish. Yeah. I mean, see what I'm talking about, y'all? Like, these are the noodles. They're gonna have great texture, and they're really gonna soak up all of that sauce. And while these two are the linguine, this is the angel hair pasta, which I also enjoy. I mean, they taste exactly the same. It's just like the density, as you can tell. It's like side-by-side comparison. I almost forgot that I wanted to add some mushrooms to this dish. We just love mushrooms in my family. So I'm gonna add a little layer there. Here. I mean, can you see how filling this meal is going to be without the carbs? All right, we're just gonna ladle our sauce over top. I'm so excited about this dish for my family, especially for my brother and my dad, because whenever they get the chance to go out to eat, they're likely going to choose Maggiano's. But let me tell you, Maggiano's ain't got nothing on me when it comes to this recipe. Dad, so I wanted to show you something. Can you see me? Okay, camera, there we go.
There you go.
Okay, all right, Dad.
That looks like broccoli in there.
Yes, did I add enough? This is like 3.5 bags of broccoli, Dad. Yeah, you said you like broccoli.
No. Robert likes broccoli and I like broccoli, so that'll work.
Exactly. So I made another homemade cheesy sauce. So you know my sauces are always like on point. And then underneath this, and these are like sauteed onions, underneath this is a layer of mushrooms. And then some hearts of palm pasta. The keto spaghetti that I have you guys on. Yeah. You like that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that should work.
And then I have chicken thighs underneath that. Just wanted to share that. That's coming down. All right, it's time to place these in the oven. Ooh, the moment of truth. And then, of course, we have this nice tender chicken thigh on the bottom. All right, so here's the rest of that thigh. Again, it is so tender. I'm gonna leave it in here because I'm just doing a little taste test for y'all. This is for my folks. But wow, right? Oh my goodness. Like, this is a good meal. This is an excellent meal. You have the pasta, you have your chicken, you have this incredibly rich sauce. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot that we added the mushrooms. Oh yeah, this is delicious.
But you saw me put this together, so I think you already know that.
Now this next meal is a freezer favorite because it tastes like something you would bring to a church picnic. And nobody would guess it's hiding half the supplement aisle inside. So these are barbecue chicken stuffed peppers, or zucchini boats if you're working with what's on sale. And this meal works because it's sweet, it's smoky, and it's got that sticky barbecue vibe. And underneath all that flavor, we've got magnesium, moringa powder, brewer's yeast, camu powder. You're gonna wanna start this recipe by chopping up some onions and allowing them to saute in a pan. And then after they start to bronze and become aromatic, you're gonna add in some sliced cabbage. Let's go ahead and give this a rough chop. I don't know how you do it, but I just love pairing my cabbage with bacon fat. Gracious, hit this with a little bit of salt and pepper and it is good enough to eat as is. So what we've created is a base of fiber. So let's go ahead now and make our glaze. Let's add in our tomato paste. Then we're gonna splash this with a little bit of vinegar to make our glaze. Next, I'm gonna give this a good shake of smoked paprika, pepper. Next up, a little horseradish. And then I'm using an allulose blend maple syrup. All right, and the protein we're gonna add is our canned chicken. So this was some of my canned chicken breast. Y'all, look at this chicken breast. It is so tender and juicy and flavorful. Wow, you talk about a meal shortcut. And I'm adding everything in here, including the juices, because that is flavor. Boom, meat is done. It's been done. So now that the sauce is done, it's time to sneak in the supplements. So first up, I'm gonna be adding moringa powder, which is packed with iron, calcium, and antioxidants. It's pretty much like a leafy multivitamin. And we're also going to add some magnesium. It's a very calming mineral that most people are low on. Next up, I'm going to be adding some brewer's yeast. And brewer's yeast is rich in complex B vitamins, chromium, selenium, which helps support blood sugar balance, and your energy. And it's great to supplement with anytime you're really managing high levels of stress or recovery. And then to this, I'm also going to be adding some camu powder, which is a vitamin C powerhouse. In fact, it is one of the highest natural concentrations just out there. So this is going to help support your immune health, your collagen production, and it's going to pair especially well with this dish because this powder has a little bit of a tang. But because this is a barbecue sauce with that kind of apple cider vinegar back end, which already has that innate like tang taste, pairs perfectly. All right, let's add our peppers to the pan. Four fit in here very nicely. And actually, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and we're just going to, after these cool, I'm going to put them right in the freezer. And then that way, all my mom has to do is after they thaw out, she can just go ahead and then put them in the oven. My goodness, this meal came together too fast. Oh, those are gonna be so good. So good. All right, I need to grab another pan and I'm gonna do the same thing with these peppers. If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Cassandra from the blog becomingafarmgirl.com, and I'm here to help you cook with what's in season, on sale, and better yet, already on your shelf. Now this might be my favorite kitchen hack, the nutrient-dense meat mix your family will never see coming. I'm combining liver with ground beef, chicken, turkey, and sausage, but don't worry, no one's biting into a piece of organ meat here. Just stay tuned.
So the liver is completely cooled, and what I'm going to do to have it mimic the crumble of the other meats is just go ahead and put it in our blender here. Ta-da! It's crumbled. I mean, doesn't that look like crumbled ground beef? Exactly. And now we can easily match this texture with this. Perfect. So let me go ahead and tell you why I love doing this.
I, in this pan, have a mix of ground beef, turkey, chicken, sausage, and even blended liver into one big flavor-packed batch. So one, this is a really smart way to never stress about having a particular meat on hand. Two, blending your proteins actually gives you the best of everything. You've got your beef for the richness, and then your turkey and your chicken are gonna lighten things up. Sausage is gonna bring more of that flavor, and then you have the liver. So liver is going to bring the nutrients that your body is probably begging for, but that your family is resisting purely on taste. Seriously, y'all, before you run out and get any of the supplements that I have mentioned here, you're going to get the absolute best bang for your buck by purchasing and eating liver. It is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. I mean, it is packed with iron, your B vitamins, vitamin A. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and add some mushrooms to this, more of the lion's mane, because again, it's just going to blend right in. And another reason, am I on reason number 3, 4? I don't know. But here's what I like doing with this. So what I will do is well, for this particular thing, I'm going to just sort it into different like freezer pans so that my mom can just pull this out and then she can fold it into whatever like she has going on based off of, you know, her kitchen and stuff. But what I like doing with this is I have a couple of silicone molds. You can use the cupcake liners for this, but I have some that are like slightly larger. And I will portion this meat into those little like cubes. They're like mini like bread loaf, you know, pans or whatever. And then when I need this ground beef, it's ready and it's nutritious. Because, again, y'all, I'm always trying to like, the present me is always trying to think, how can I help the future Cassandra? And so not having to like do all of the pulling and like sprinkling and whatever else, and just to know like, boom, this meat is like hearty, my supplements are already in there. Like, it's just a no-brainer, you know, at that point. And so that's another reason why I really like doing this. So, yeah. All right, so I do have a few more mushrooms left, so I'm going to toss them in here. But y'all, like, think about what I'm doing, because even with this meat that's fully cooked and ready to go, it's still going to be like covered and smothered underneath some type of like sauce, right? Or mixed in with something else. So when I tell you that this is your opportunity to fold in the supplements that your body needs just by doing this, to do like a healthy blend. And actually, I think earlier I only talked about like the difference in the taste profile. This is really good. I've added just a little bit of salt and pepper to this, and it's ready to go. So, and you know, by this time, like all the information that I'm reading is kind of like blending together, but this is also a really smart idea, not just for taste, because so ground beef is really rich in iron and zinc and B12, and that's going to support your energy and your red blood cell production. But then chicken and turkey are leaner, and they're higher in niacin or your B3, and that's going to support your metabolism and your brain health. And then pork, especially the ground sausage, is going to bring in thiamine, which is vitamin B1, and that is what helps your body to convert food even into fuel. So by actually combining lean and rich, you can cover more of your micronutrient bases in one bite. I mean, think about it. I've actually cut my grocery budget by combining these different types of meats while also exposing myself to a fuller range of amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. I am so thankful, and I think Sally Fallon was saying this, or maybe it was her co-host, but she was talking about how if you're raised eating liver, then like you're just gonna eat it, right? You actually like start to crave it, and you're just used to the taste. Whereas if you're not, like your palate hasn't developed the taste like for liver. And that's really interesting because y'all know on this channel, I have shared how I do love the classic meal of liver and onions. We would eat that just a couple times a month. Maybe at least 2 times a month growing up. And I remember the first time that my mom made it, and Trey had come home. This is when she was visiting. And when he walked through the door, he was like, "Oh my goodness, Mom, it smells so good." And Mom and I just like looked at each other like, okay. Because I knew Trey had never eaten liver. And so then when she like puts it on the plate, he was probably thinking that it was like a cut of steak. And he bites into it and he starts chewing and he's like, what is this? And my mom was like, what do you think it is? He was like, what is this? And we were like, it's liver. And so he was like, oh, okay, this is different. And so he just doesn't have like the taste for it. And so folding these foods in, because he didn't grow up like eating it, but folding these tastes in early and often is really important. And so this is a way that I can still look out for my husband and make sure that he's getting the nutrition that he needs without, there's no fuss at all. There's nothing, y'all, right? And so particularly for me, one of the things that Trey will say, and he knows that I do this, I'm going to see if I can find that clip. Like, my husband just wants the food to like taste good, y'all, right? And it does. Like, he knows I do, all these kind of things. But in particular, he knows this for himself because when he has to do like workups or, he's deployed, he will often say like, babe, I am not feeling like my best here. My energy is low. I feel like I'm getting, I'm more susceptible to like brain fog. He gets sick more frequently, and he's like, I'm still eating, but it's not the same way when I eat, when I'm home. And so, yeah, y'all. Y'all, so this first meal is like a cheesy sausage southern grits casserole. Except the grits are a little different. Look, I'm trying to cut back on the blood sugar spikes, not the flavor. So this is the kind of dish that you serve on a Sunday morning, where the smell of sausage is coming from the oven and everyone's still in their pajamas waiting for that first bite. So this dish is creamy, it's savory, and it's got that rich, eggy hug, but without a single grain of grits or heavy carbs in sight. And trust me, no one really notices, not even my southern father who thinks grits are a food group. So here's what I'm using today. So to mimic the grits, we're going to use konjac rice. I know, I hadn't even heard about this stuff until recently too. But it's made from a plant called the konjac plant, and it's been used for thousands of years. It is full of fiber and remarkably low in carbs. This is also a prebiotic, and the type of fiber that it contains expands in your stomach to help you feel full. Now, what I can absolutely say is that this is great for mimicking rice. It does an excellent job at soaking up whatever flavors you're using. The only drawback is that this stuff is not cheap. So this is a 9.5 ounce bag, and when it's not on sale at my grocery stores, I see it for like $3.99. The lowest I've been able to catch this is about $2.50, but that's okay. I have a workaround. Darling, we're gonna make our own cauliflower rice. It's cost effective, keto, and tastes just as delish. But if there's an ingredient that I'm trying to introduce to my family, I will do exactly what you see me doing here, which is to slowly like mix or fold that new ingredient into something that they're already familiar with. We're also going to use ground flaxseed, which is going to add fiber, texture, and that satisfying stick to your ribs feeling. Sausage, because Southern. But wait, I'm going to cut the ground pork with ground chicken. And that's because ground pork has more than enough flavor to lend to the ground chicken, which is often cheaper per pound than the pork. And what's great about that is that I can stretch the sausage flavor and make it a leaner dish. And that little trick is helpful, especially if you're cooking for someone who's trying to watch their cholesterol. So yeah, the ground chicken is gonna lighten things up without losing any of that smoky, savory flavor. And so you won't feel as heavy after breakfast. Just hit this pan with a little bit of smoked paprika, fennel seed, garlic powder, and sage. Boom, it tastes like sausage. We've also got a mix of cream cheese, unsalted butter, eggs, and a little bit of cheese that we're going to cut with nutritional yeast. So what's happening is that the cheese is going to add that salty, creamy richness. And the nutritional yeast is going to add this nutty, almost Parmesan-like umami flavor. So you're not just doubling the flavor, you're sneaking in nutrition too. And nutritional yeast, y'all, this is a powerhouse of B vitamins, especially B12. So this is really good for things like your nervous system, your energy, and brain health. And your B vitamins are especially important if you're dealing with things like stress, fatigue, or recovering from something like a stroke. And this stuff has beta-glucans, which helps to support the immune system. So like, yeah, it's actually doing a little bit of work in the background. All right, let's crack these eggs. And we'll add a splash of milk, 2 hearty scoops of nutritional yeast, 1 scoop of cheese, And then add slightly less flax meal than you did the nutritional yeast. And then go ahead and give this a good whisk. And to this, we're gonna fold in our meat. And then our cauliflower rice. Now you may have noticed that I'm not gonna use all of this cauliflower rice because y'all, you know I'm setting some of this aside for meals for later on this week. All right, this batter is going to be thick, so it's really good to just, eyeball it. But let's go ahead and make sure that we have our egg mixture coating everything. So now we're gonna go ahead and add some cream cheese, which texture speaking is a lifesaver. So this is going to add richness without needing flour or starches, which is a win if you're keeping things keto or grain-free. Now we're gonna add in some butter, and for recipes that count like this one, I mostly cook with unsalted, grass-fed, organic butter. And a good quality butter, especially if it is grass-fed, is actually very rich in butyrate, which is a short-chain fatty acid that actually helps to reduce inflammation and support gut health. And that is something that I learned from Dr. William Davis, who is the author of a book called Super Gut. And in that book, he does a really great job of explaining how the gut is connected to the brain, your mood, and your immune system. And as Sally Fallon reminds us in Nourishing Traditions, our ancestors didn't fear butter. They thrived on it. And it is truly the modern food system that has made us scared of traditional fats. But when you cook with the real stuff, you are not only getting flavor, but you're getting satiety, so that true feeling of fullness and nourishment. All right, let's scoop this into pans to bake. So before we go ahead and layer this with cheese, let me tell you why this recipe works. The supplements that we used are in incognito mode. So for example, we use the nutritional yeast, which is yellow, and that is completely hidden by the eggs and the cheese. And then the flaxseed, actually, you and I, since we know about this stuff, we would maybe pick up on some of the little specks, but you know what? It's not that big of a deal because your family's just gonna be like, oh yeah, it's ground sausage. And it's like that. You just gotta outsmart them, which is truly what this layer of cheese is for, so it doesn't need to be too thick. All right, let's pop these in the oven to bake. All right, so I think it's cooled down enough for us to take a little taste test. And y'all, just remember that I change this up a little bit each time I make it, depending on what's in my fridge, because the key is mimicking the texture and the flavor memory. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks so good. I'm telling y'all. And that is what keeps people coming back for seconds, even when you've completely taken grits out of the equation. And y'all, this dish freezes wonderfully. Yeah, this is not lacking in flavor at all. It is creamy and savory. And I really like nothing in this dish is screaming cauliflower. You're not getting that. Again, just because cauliflower does an excellent job at just soaking up and blending into whatever textures you're cooking with. It's there as a background texture, but it's so easy to sneak into this dish. The addition of the cream cheese to the sausage and the chicken. Another thing I want to tell you is that for as little cheese as we used on the top, this dish is just cheesy flavored throughout. You're gonna want to give this one a try. Now for this next recipe, you want to start with a mix of ground turkey and sausage. Meanwhile, in a separate bowl, I've got some hand mashed sweet potatoes waiting. And into that, I am going to fold in some butter, mix that in. And I'm also tossing in some petite carrots that I found on clearance for $1.24. Never skip clearance veggies, especially carrots. They stretch the dish, boost the nutrients, and color-wise, no one knows what's what. Then we're adding a touch of Ceylon cinnamon. I'll be honest, I don't exactly know why it's better, but I keep hearing that it's the cinnamon with less stuff that you don't want and more of what you do, so I keep it stocked. You're gonna see me refilling the bottle here. I go through this stuff like crazy. I also added just a little swerve brown sugar, which is an allulose-based sweetener, just a touch because it's already sweet from the potatoes and the carrots. It's not meant to be dessert, but it should feel cozy. By now, the meat on the stove is ready, so we're gonna fold that cooked meat right into the sweet potato mash, and this is where it starts to get fun. In a separate bowl, I'm cracking a few eggs and then building my supplement boost. So first up, I'm going to use lion's mane, which is amazing for cognition, memory, and mental clarity. And then after that, I'm going to add some CoQ10, which supports cellular energy and heart health, which is especially important as we get older, or if you're just running nonstop like I am. After that, I'm going to sprinkle in some myco powder blend. Now, I actually picked this up at a farmer's market in Maryland. It's got reishi, cordyceps, turkey tail, all those functional mushrooms that support your immune system, reduce inflammation, and help your body deal with stress. Honestly, it's like an earthy little insurance policy. To that same egg mixture, I'm adding a handful of chopped dates for natural sweetness and a little bit of a bite. And then I'm going to fold in several generous scoops of cashew butter. This gives us those healthy fats and a bump of plant-based protein. Plus, it just makes everything super creamy. So I'm just going to mix all that together and then pour it right over the meat and sweet potato blend. You're going to bake this at 350 for about 45 minutes and totally optional, but I like to sprinkle some nuts on top. I had pecans on hand, so I went with those. And then I found the last bit of slivered almonds, and I added those in too. And that is it, a full stealth health breakfast that your body and your family will thank you for.
All right, y'all, here's the finished product out of the oven. And I'm just going to scoop a small little corner out of here. All right, so this is what we end up with. It's like a sweet potato cake. Yeah. So you have the goodness of your crumbled meat that's in here, along with the heartiness of the potatoes. It's sweet, but not overly so. You get that crunch from the pecans and the almonds. Okay, so now that we've done the main meals, let's sneak in some dessert. And these are going to be no-bake chocolate cashew collagen bars. And trust me, these are rich, fudgy, and freezer friendly. They're also packed with collagen, healthy fats, and minerals, and, wait for it, mushrooms. I know, just trust me on it. So if you ever need to end the day with something sweet and supportive, this is it. So we're gonna use cashew butter for creaminess and a healthy fat. And then we're gonna use cacao powder for that deep chocolate flavor. And a huge benefit to cacao powder is that it is packed with magnesium, iron, fiber, and tons of antioxidants. So I actually brought up my backup pack because did you know that you can actually get cacao powder that's been fermented? Yeah, and you won't see it everywhere. Now I'm in Maryland, and so I can easily find this at a store called Mom's Organic Market, but I've also seen it on Amazon. It's a little marked up. But an added benefit to going fermented is that, it says here on the package, and then I also did like some reading online about it. Okay, many people look for antioxidants, particularly flavonoids and polyphenols. Purchase our cacao powder because it's minimally processed, contains no added sugar, and is the most concentrated source of cacao available. Now, maybe my taste buds just aren't that sophisticated, but I don't notice a difference between regular and fermented cacao. You're also gonna need some cacao nibs or chips for crunch, and you're also gonna need some chopped dates. Sorry, it's holding up the camera. So yeah, some chopped dates. But honey, as I always say, if you don't have these exact ingredients, remix it. So I happen to have some cashew butter, but if I didn't, I'd absolutely use almond butter. And as you can see, I'm a little low on my flax. Now I do have some whole flax seeds up there, but I would also just use chia seeds. I would of course just grind them for texture. And then for your sweetener, you can use maple syrup or monk fruit. And of course, you can use any chopped nuts or seeds for your topping. Now our first add-in for this recipe includes collagen peptides, and collagen supports your joints, skin, your gut lining, and your protein balance. I try to put this stuff in as much as I can. The next up, I'm going to use this Host Defense mushroom blend. This is the one that's put out by Paul Stamets, and I like his work, and so this is the brand that he puts out. But this blend supports immunity, cognition, and energy. And in chocolate, it completely disappears. And then the cacao nibs are full of magnesium, antioxidants, and a really nice crunch. So I'm also gonna add in some magnesium powder. It's great for calming the nervous system, supporting hormone regulation, and easing tension. I mean, talk about an edible supplement routine. This is it. So a quote that I remember from Dr. Mindy, she's the author of Fast Like a Girl, is that you don't need to supplement hard, you need to supplement smart. And that's what these bars do. They're smart. They're gonna give you functional fat and fiber, minerals, and protein, and they kind of taste like something that you shouldn't even be allowed to eat. Okay, so to your nut base, you're gonna add in some chopped dates,
And then we're just gonna toss this in the microwave for a few seconds just so the dates can soften up. And now we're gonna add our flax. And I just like to add equal parts flax and cacao. And now we'll add our supplements. Magnesium. And the cacao nibs. Oops, sweetener. All right, I'm gonna use some Swerve brown sugar. Again, this is the allulose sugar. It tastes really, really good, and you don't need to overdo it, nor do you want to, because it can upset your tummy, but I haven't experienced that, but it's really good. Okay, let's give this a stir. Then pop it back in the microwave to melt. Okay, yeah, now this is looking right. I am gonna add just a little bit of this, who's this by? This Wholesome Yum. You just need a bit. And so, yeah, maybe that was like 2 capfuls. In a bit, I'm just gonna taste test this, right? Like there's nothing raw in here, like eggs or anything. And so you absolutely do wanna go ahead and taste it. All right, y'all, so this next step is optional. I'm gonna go ahead and add some chopped walnuts in here because if I don't wanna hear my dad's mouth talking about where are the nuts. All that's left to do is to scoop our mixture into silicone molds, and then you just wanna freeze them for 30 to 60 minutes. Okay, so now I'm just using a butter wrapper to just smash these down a bit, just so they look pretty. And into the freezer they go. So now we're gonna make frozen matcha cream pie bites. And they're cool and creamy and tangy and a little sweet, and they remind me of something that you would get in like a LA health foods cafe. Not that I've ever been to LA. Because why? Especially when I can make them in my own kitchen and sneak in all the supplements I want. But I am cheating just a bit because y'all know I shop the clearance racks, and so this is actually why I'm now making this kind of recipe. But I found these for $1 each. This is not something that I've actually ever bought, but they are going to be ideal for this little recipe. And so these are just the graham cracker crusts that already come like individually wrapped. And the oil that they use in here, other than it being, you know, regular kind of enriched flour, is palm oil, which isn't the worst. So the idea is to go for a nutty keto crust. And normally to make that, you're gonna mix in some almond flour, some butter, and flax meal. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with these this time. Y'all have seen me make my keto almond crust plenty of times. We're gonna use cream cheese and coconut cream for the filling. And oh, if you don't have cream cheese, you can use Greek yogurt. And then matcha, I don't have fresh lemon, so I'm gonna use lemon zest. And then some Swerve to sweeten. So to this, we're gonna add some spirulina, which is rich in iron and chlorophyll, and more of our inulin, which again is great for feeding your gut bugs and stabilizing your blood sugar. And then we're also gonna add maca powder. Now, maca is like a root-based adaptogen, and it's known for boosting your energy and supporting hormone balance and enhancing your mood, all while adding this subtle nutty flavor that's gonna pair really nicely with our kind of crust that we're using. Okay, y'all, so if you blink, you're gonna miss this recipe. We're basically taking all those ingredients and blending them together. All right, y'all, so we don't want to overwhelm things, so I'm adding just like a teaspoon of spirulina. All right, now it's time to spoon in our creamy filling. Now, if you wanted to be a little bit fancy and if you had like fresh fruit, you could put some berries on top. All right, y'all, I'm just gonna go ahead and slide these into the freezer. They at least need to be there for about 30 minutes. Well, actually maybe up to an hour. And then they're good to go. All right, y'all, so it is the following day, and I just wanted to share with you what our desserts ended up looking like. So I only have I don't know, I think it's like 12 of these. So I'm not gonna go ahead and eat one, but these are delicious. If you enjoy the taste of matcha or whatever supplement you're using, these are delicious. They're gonna feel like a dessert, but I really appreciate the fact that when that sweet tooth inevitably hits, you know, you wanna go towards something like this. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna put these again in the little tin, and as they eat these, I'm just gonna be smirking, y'all. And then these are our brownie bites. So again, with the silicone mold, they just pop right out, right? And then you just wanna put these like in the fridge to just kind of soften up, maybe like just a bit. But these are delicious. And they are extremely filling as well. To get more from scratch food inspiration, click the video on your screen. I'll see you in my kitchen or garden soon. Take care, friends.